Hey guys, welcome to Daily Dispatch. Is that what it's called? Daily Dispatch? Daylight
You don't
Dispatch.
even know what it's called.
I don't even know what the branding's called anymore because I have the hillbilly wrap up, but you don't like that brand.
Well, you're not a hillbilly.
Well, I like to pretend to be.
Why?
I live in the hills of the Ozarks and I own property, so
Yeah.
technically I'm a hillbilly. You're just trying to put stereotypes on me.
Yes, because you're not. You're like a suburbanite middle class guy.
in the hills of the Ozarks. So, and I know the thumbnail Sacha really hated that with me. The overalls. I've never wore overalls in my life to be interesting.
I have
to be
overalls.
Honest. Really, that bit is cute. I think girls can be cute with overalls. You still see overalls sometimes around.
Not
here.
as much.
No, even our neighbor doesn't wear them, does he?
Well, they kind of, I don't know.
He's in his 80s.
They kind of came back in the 90s because I remember there was a store in Fayetteville that called Experience Denim and they sold. That's where I got mine. But that doesn't exist
I always thought for girls they could be kind of cute for some reason. I don't know why they're not revealing, but they're kind of cute. I like them. So, yeah, I don't do that. Now, we picked up a new dog crate for Benji. That's our dog, our little puppy. And he's learning. We crate him because we're trying to potty train him. And dogs, if you know their behavior, they won't go in their crate. So that's the way to train them. And it's an effective tool. And he's getting better. But I had to pick up the crate. You got it on Facebook. It was a Facebook marketplace.
Yeah, I found a really big crate for like $30 and I had to work. And so he had to pick it up. Yeah,
so I went to the Sticks of Arkansas and there was two guys there. It was kind of stereotypes as the man and his son. And they were both shirtless and drinking a beer. But they were nice.
Yeah.
But that's sometimes
we got a good deal, and he's got a big place to roam around now because he was in that little terrier, and he's getting so big he's outgrown that.
Yeah, it is.
He's a sweetie. He scratched me. If anybody wondered about the scratch, because you got scratched by Louise.
I've had to be on stream with scratches on my face, so I just claim that you abuse me, so I get more super chats that way. We should do that. Then we could be on the drama stream. Where they're all fighting and everyone's having, because that's what they all do, right? They all abuse each other and
they all talk about wishing each other dead. And some woman has cancer that runs a clip show, and I guess Nick Rekieta was like happy that she was sick, and a lot of sick people. That guy's off in the head for sure.
And then you had Ethan Ralph and his escapades, and then you said Rekieta. I never really followed Rekieta, but they had like a polycule or something degenerate, and now they're getting divorced.
And then Brandon told me last night because I was listening to Kino Casino and talking about him because he used to listen to him.
Yeah.
And he said they went on some vacation in Jamaica or somewhere, and him and his wife went to some sex thing.
Really?
So, Buddy wants in here really bad. Can I let him in?
Yeah, if you want to.
If not, he's just going to cry at the door through the whole stream.
So Sacha will just let one of the cats. We have two cats. We're full of animals, by the way. We can't have any more.
Some douchebag.
You can go ahead. Oh, well, he'll go.
He'll come in.
All right.
Some douchebag at my dad's old house. We went to mow the lawn 2 weeks ago, and some douchebag dropped the little puppy off. And they used to do that. My dad had 11 dogs at one time when I lived there back in the 90s because people kept dumping them because they knew he'd take care of them. And he got kind of tired of having all of them. And I said, well, take some of them to shelter. And he didn't want to because he's afraid they'd get killed. But most of the time they weren't puppies. It was rare somebody dumped a puppy, but this time they dumped a puppy.
Yeah,
he's a sweet little guy too.
We didn't. Yeah, I guess we could have taken him to the pound. He would have been adopted because little puppies get adopted quick. But
I'm glad we kept him.
Yeah, we could use another dog in the country.
And it's fun to have him tease Button.
Yeah,
and
they
Paul's
play a lot.
Giving Button so much food, she's obese now.
Yeah, Button's got
can hardly lift her up. I'm like, okay, she needs to be on a diet.
Yeah, I'm going to cut back on her food a little bit. She's putting on the weight, so.
But I guess we should get to the news. We're getting off.
Oh, that's okay. It's our show. We do what we want.
Somebody said no more cats. Cats are awesome. Sometimes I think people that don't like cats have never had one.
Cats are lower maintenance than dogs, that's for sure.
They are. And Buddy's a sweetheart.
I like both. I like
chews
both.
up and said, "Oh, please, you barely notice the cats."
No, Sacha always says that, but
he does.
Sasha's very binary. Like either have to hate or love one, and I love both.
But I said you should give some attention to Louise because she's sitting there and
There's 4 of them. How can I do that when like every single moment of my day is dealing with a puppy? It's just like nonstop. Because a puppy, if I don't crate it, I just keep it in the room with me. But then I always have to watch because it's always trying to chew on something like the chair or the carpet or whatever. And then I have to let it out frequently. Then you have Button I have to take care of, so it's just like, it's really exhausting. And one of the things is I haven't been getting much sleep because I usually don't go to sleep till Sacha gets home. So that's around midnight. And then the puppy wakes up at 3 a.m. So I take it out at 3 a.m. And then it gets back up at 7. And that's my sleep. So it's like I'm a zombie.
Yeah, but you don't have to go to a job either. I would rather stay here and like tard wrangle the dog than have to go to work.
Well, yeah, no, and I can nap in the afternoon. Sometimes I try to do that. Yeah, because I can't.
I've been not getting sleep either because it wakes me up too.
But I noticed a big difference. I don't get my sleep. I'm not as sharp.
I felt like a zombie yesterday, and work is a lot worse in the summer. And so it's like, all right, I get to go work my ass off and deal with this and not get any rest.
All right. We got a question, and I think this was from yesterday, but we'll deal with it now. It came in late. It was A&D here. You want to read it?
Yeah. Hey, Rams, do you see the current riots in LA extending to other areas of America over the coming weeks and months? Should we be concerned with our planned trip to Texas and lower Midwest states later in the year?
Oh, I think this may be the guy. I don't know. Are you I don't know if he's from Australia. He could be a guy from Australia because there's an Australian guy and his couple. They want to see us, I think, later in like September.
Oh, cool.
Remember I told you that?
Yeah, but I kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
I got a lot on my mind.
I bet that's him. And no, don't worry about it.
No, I don't think it'll be.
To be honest, and I talked about Z-Man about these riots are more, well, first of all, I think they're going away now. I really do think they're ending.
Don't you think some of these riots are just like paid to do this stuff? I mean, why would most people are for deportations? I don't see why people would be out there burning LA on fire unless they're getting Soros money. And like you guys were saying last night, I work with Mexicans and they're mostly peaceful, and I just don't see people I work with. They're not going to go out there and burn down. They don't care. I mean, most of them probably don't want all these people here either. They came to get away from that shit. A lot of people did. They came here to work. Why do they, Trump's going to deport criminals? I mean, my God. And that guy is back. That guy that I can't remember his name. He's in detention, I guess. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I vaguely saw that. All these
some congressmen went and had lunch with him.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? But he's back.
Yeah, the
Venezuelan gang member.
The Democrats have had real bad optics to supporting these criminals. And to answer the question, first of all, even in LA, from people I've talked to, it's not like the whole city's on fire.
No, it's probably a small portion.
What it is, it's almost like theater. And in the age of social media, I've noticed it's hard to distinguish between reality and pretend because everyone has their damn phones up. Everyone's trying to live stream.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's trying to do their spin. The media always likes to try to exaggerate for clicks. So it's the old thing. I don't know if you saw the meme. There's just like one little fire and there's like a million cameras taking a picture of a little fire. And I think for the most part, even in LA, it's been very localized. It's not like the whole city.
Because LA is huge. And I wouldn't worry about it in the Midwest or Texas. And if there's anything in Texas, I think it'd be in Austin. And I don't really.
No, there isn't.
I don't think they're going to do.
No, there isn't. And again, if the federal government under Trump starts really throwing the book at these people, which they could, because throwing firebombs, that could give you a life sentence.
It should.
And it used to be, though, with the summer of love with George Floyd, all the Democrats just let these people out with no penalty. But now if they start doing heavy penalties where you go to prison for a long time, that's going to be really discouraging throwing firebombs. And a lot of these people that were throwing those Molotov cocktails and rocks, they have their image, their face, and they can run them through the database and find out who they are and where they live and just track them down really quick. So I don't think this is going to sustain. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about is I guess this weekend there's supposed to be some, it sounds real gay, the No Kings.
Oh, I heard about that.
As I talked about Z-Man, it's really misbrand. Most people don't understand even what the hell that means. It's just most like the ghetto people, man, being king is cool, you know? So it's stupid. I see a bunch of middle-aged pussy hat women. Remember that crew?
Oh, yeah.
That was, they put away their handmaiden's outfit, right? And they put away their pussy hat, and now they're going to go out this No Kings March. So these are fat, middle-aged women that just want to try to get some pathetic meaning to their life. And now that COVID's gone and they can't run around with their mask and yell at people, they're desperately trying to find meaning. So they're going to show up and like say, I don't know if they have in a Fayetteville, let's say at the square with 20 other hags and have some really cringe chants like no one gives a shit about. So to answer your question, A and D, don't worry about it. It's fine. I would go to LA now. I wouldn't worry about it at all.
Yeah, same.
So LA is a huge city. I think it's our largest city, isn't it?
No, I think New York's the largest. LA is the second.
Maybe geographic area, LA is bigger. If you take the whole area,
population New York is, unless more people moved out. I know a lot of people were exiting LA and New York, so I don't know.
Well, then you get, how do you count it? Do you count the city proper, the whole surrounding area? So it's really,
but it's pretty big. It doesn't matter. It's huge.
My son lives in Southern California. I won't say where, but he says, he was raised pretty much in Oklahoma. And he says that was the thing that really sticks out is how crowded it is compared to Oklahoma and everywhere. That place is packed.
Well, so is New York.
Yeah.
The
New York City metro area is really big. It's all just kind of merged together. But to answer your question, Texas won't be any problems.
No.
Our areas.
They're not going to put up with that shit in Texas anyway.
No, it didn't happen in Texas.
No.
And they won't deal with that. So you'll be fine. Don't worry about that. And a lot of this is somewhat exaggerated. I mean, it happens, but it's just, they get the cameras. So 99% of the people in LA were probably just going about doing their business. And then you have these professional malcontents being paid by the usual suspects. And then you always have the looting, the shoe stores and that type of thing. But it has nothing really to do with politics.
No.
It's just they see a target of opportunity and they do it. That's just how they roll. They can't maintain civilization. So I wouldn't worry about it. Hey, we got a $10 from Damian Thorne.
Thank you. Trump is cucking out on deportations already for AG and hotel workers. He can F off.
What do I want to say about that? I guess we got to be happy with what we get because he's definitely better than Kamala would have been. And at least he's stopping illegals. And I'd rather just deport all the illegals. That's what we should do.
I don't understand why people can't have just work visas and stay in the country and work like they used to, and then they go home. If we need hotel work, because I understand there is a labor short. Because even at my job, it's kind of like that. We can't find people, and maybe for jobs that pay more, but the lower jobs, it does seem like there's a problem finding good help. But they can go home. They could be seasonal workers and then leave. There's no reason that we need to import all these people to do jobs, especially with AI and everything.
And here's, I'll show you guys this.
Well, honestly, I don't know why do they even need more hotel workers? Because I saw recently in Vegas, they're starting to kind of do away with a lot of the front desk people where you're just going to use kiosks. So I wouldn't even think they're going to need a lot of people
and with
in
AI,
hotels
you're going to need
anymore.
less people, fewer people. So
for now, you probably need housekeepers, but there's a few things you might need, but I wouldn't think it's that many.
Here was that wreck, I guess, in Britain, this Air India. And it just took off and then it just went.
Yikes.
So that happened today. That was.
I'm guessing they don't know what caused it yet.
No, Air India 171 crashes a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. And so we got a lot of problems here. This is a lot of Indians, and supposedly there's 53 Brits, but I don't know if they're real Brits or Indians. And the 787s had a lot of problems. Boeing's had a lot of problems with quality because they've had a DEI initiative trying to get rid of whites.
That.
And so the quality is really going down because they're hiring people based on race and perversions instead of competency.
Right.
And then you have these Indian pilots. And again, India is a very corrupt culture. They fake a lot of things and they get their nephews in, and a lot of nepotism. If you think that one group is really nepotistic, like in Hollywood, Indians put them to shame. So we don't know the cause for this, but it'd be interesting to see. This could definitely hurt Boeing stock. But I think we're going to see, we're seeing more and more of competency problem. And that is definitely a situation there. And hey, we got another super chat. Wow, $20. Thank you.
You guys are the best. Love your show.
Well, thank you.
We've only done like 2.
I know we plan to do more, and and you guys giving us love like this keeps us going. Actually.
Yeah, we should do the goal. Like if you make 50, we'll do night owls on Sunday, like we did that one time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
If you want to, it's
sure.
up to you. It's your thing.
Yeah, let's do that. So we've already made
30.
30.
So
Yeah.
$20 we'll do Night Owls.
Yeah,
That's
so
easy goal.
yeah, it is easy. $50 easy goal. A lot of the streamers have like a $500 goal or something. Yeah, but we're modest people. We're just modest, poor folks living in the woods of Arkansas.
Whatever.
So if we want another $20, we could buy some shoes finally.
Oh, stop! And if you did, the dog would chew them up.
Yeah, actually, I need to get new shoes because the dog has chewed up my tennis shoes, and I work outside with these shoes.
He's about as big as the shoe. It was so funny. He just grabs the shoe, and the shoe's about as big as him.
I love him, but boy, he is
he's getting better.
Yeah, he'll be a good dog. It's just a puppy. Puppies can't really control a lot.
Right, he's a baby.
You know who's really been an interesting change, and Zeman and I talked about this. I think I have this Matt Walsh. I'm not really quite sure. Is he still work for Ben Shapiro? It sounds like.
No, I haven't been following this stuff to be honest.
Seems like he'd be kicked off because he's really going off the
reservation.
reservation.
They don't want to kick too many people off, or they won't have a company. Because I don't know. People keep saying he's not doing well. Shapiro, he doesn't get the views he used to, and so it's like people that sub to Daily Wire, who are they watching on Daily Wire? I would think Matt Walsh would probably be the big draw right now.
Well, you have to see the problem of like the Blaze and Ben Shapiro and those folks. They really traditionally have worked behind the scenes, and they want to give other faces, so to speak. So it kind of fools people thinking it's an American thing. If it becomes literally all pro-Jewish Israel, people start to think, well, wait a minute, how does this represent me? And so it's kind of a fine line there. They have National Review went through the same thing. It started with Bill Buckley, a real Catholic, actually. And I know you're not a fan of Catholics, but it was a Catholic, more religion, Bill Buckley was a Catholic, Sobran was. And then the neocons, which mostly were Jewish, came aboard, and they started all the, having troubles and trying to deplatform people like Sobran and Sam Francis because they said Sobran was anti-Semitic, and he wasn't. He was just saying, why do we always have to do what Israel wants us to do?
Well, why do we? I think most people agree with that, though. I bet if I went to work tonight and asked everybody at work, they'd probably agree with us.
Yeah,
it's only like these Christian Zionists that really think we have to. I don't even think a lot of Jewish people are necessarily pro-Israel, because you see a lot of them out there for the Palestinians. And
yeah, and the old deal that, crying about the Holocaust, because you ask, like, why should Israel control our foreign policy? And doing your miraculous story, how your 80 or 90-year-old grandmother miraculously survived the concentration camps and boohoo and what else? Why must we suffer? This is anti-Semitism. I think that's running a little thin. And people aren't really buying.
Well, how many people are still alive that were in the Holocaust?
It seems to be growing every year. It seems to be growing every year. I don't know how that is. It's defying math, but that's the way it is.
The guy they set on fire was supposed to be, or one of those guys a couple of weeks ago, and that guy threw that Molotov cocktail. He was supposed to be in like a Holocaust survivor. I think they said he was 88. So you're getting to the bottom of the barrel here, guys. Like, most people don't live to be 88 or 100, but then you're always hearing. We saw a commercial a couple years ago in Colorado. Remember that? And it was like, give money to Holocaust survivors.
Yeah, I know. It's like, how old can they be?
Yeah.
Well, a couple of things. How they define that, just so you know, is if you were a Jewish person that happened to live in a Nazi-occupied territory, even if you never went to a camp, you were called a Holocaust survivor.
Right.
And some of it's just lies. I would say most of it's lies.
Yeah, they weren't actually in the camps. They were just there.
Well, they used to come out with a lot of propaganda that they even admit now that what I was taught is real, that they made Jews into soap and lampshades. I joke about, they really did say that seriously. And some of the stories originally, that when they went into the camps, there was a geyser of blood that just flowed up, like, in what do you call that in Yellowstone?
A geyser?
Yeah, just a geyser of blood. There's so much blood, and that's physically impossible. So there's a lot of.
Yeah, this isn't a horror movie.
Yeah, it's the crazy stories, and they backed off on a lot of that. So there's been a lot of strange stories.
Well, I've heard that soap story about other things too. That years ago I read some book about this girl from the Middle East. And she got her legs blown off in one of our wars. And of course, we had to take her in. And all she did was bitch, even though like they gave her a car and she got on Social Security and all this other stuff. And that her grandmother or mother were scared to death to come to America because they thought that we did that to people too. Yeah, we made soap out of people. And
again, the Nazis were the stupidest people in the world because instead of just like on the Eastern Front, just killing your enemies. Not that I would advocate that, but the simple way would be to shoot someone. But instead, they decided to put them on valuable rail trains, send them back to the concentration camp, have them, I guess, live there for a while before they gas them, which seems like it doesn't seem very efficient. There seems a more efficient ways you could get rid of people.
Right.
I'm just saying. So the Nazis were very dumb people. But we know what happened, man, but they were just very stupid, evil people. All right, Matt Wallace. Iran does not pose an incredible threat to the United States. Oh, this is another thing, because it kind of ties this, because we got to stop Iran. Otherwise, Iran will create yet another Holocaust. We do not need to get involved with another war in the Middle East for reasons that have nothing to do with defending our own nation. I mean, he's sounding like Ramsey Paul here. And this would not fly well with Ben Shapiro, because Ben Shapiro, there's a group of people who think that the purpose of the United States is to fund and protect Israel.
Yeah.
That's our purpose. And I don't even think Israel has any designs to take over. I mean, Iran has any designs to take over Israel. It's the other way around.
Yeah.
And so Iran wants nuclear weapons to defend themselves.
It's none of our business.
Yeah.
We have our own problems.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
We can't be the cops of the world.
I agree with Matt Walsh. So I don't know if there will be an attack, but there's always rumblings either Israel or the United States will bomb Iran. The neocons like Lindsey Graham, they're rubbing their hands wanting it to happen. Or, our senator here, Tom Cotton, who's totally
those guys have to be
totally owned by the Israeli lobby. It's not going to do any good because all their facilities are underground. It's just be a
How
PR
does that
stuff.
asshole keep getting elected? Are there that many Christian Zionists in this state, I guess?
Well, because if you're going to win the senator seat in Arkansas, you have to be Republican.
Yeah,
right?
I know. But
the Republican Party is controlled by a lot of the neocon types.
That's why I don't vote. That's why I don't really vote Republican. Like Trump was, I don't vote for the Democrats either, but I really don't like a lot of these Republicans either.
We got Clutchman, $10. Thank you. You want to read this?
Yeah, thank you. The No Kings protest will amount to nothing. They did a similar thing here during the BLM riots, and I drove past 2 of them, and they consisted of a handful of cat ladies and other virtue signalers. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it will amount to anything. And
how many people really know about it? Most people outside of like the political sphere, they don't follow this shit. Like if I went to work, normies don't know about these
I'm
things.
telling
really
you that
don't.
people that will are college students that are on like Blue Sky, and they have their shit-lib professors.
Like
right?
these brainwashed kids, pretty much.
And they want, and not even all of them, the men are pretty conservative. So it's just like the blue hair, fat, LGBTQ types will be out. Well, transgenders are big into this stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Antifa is almost all transgender now. It's kind of funny.
That's funny.
So it's that's the way that's become. And no, I don't think it will amount to anything really.
No.
I think the media will try to cover it, try to make it a big event, but there's nothing. Again, it's not a really good symbolism. No kings. Most people don't understand that.
No.
This isn't like the French. We don't
it.
have a king. This isn't like the French Revolution. I'd be fine having a king actually.
Well, at least if you had a king, he might care.
Right,
about
he cared
the
long term. Yeah.
Where these people only care about lining their pockets in the moment. I mean, how many of these politicians get out and they get rich? I mean, look at Obama and how wealthy they are now. You don't make that much money as the president, so where the hell does all this money come from? Look at the Clintons and all the shady shit they've done. It's funny, and they talk about Trump like he's just using the presidency to get rich, and it's like, well, he actually didn't take a salary for this.
Right.
And there's only been a handful of presidents that have done that.
Yeah. Here's something that kind of shows, I thought we kind of talked about this, and I really believe this is true, just my lived experience. I guess what the people on the left say. There's more diversity of thought on the political right than on the political left. And they did some diagrams of the positions. If you look at the left on blue, they're all almost extremely very close with their political positions.
Well, they are.
So if you're a leftist, the things you support are almost non-negotiable. You can tell they're for abortion, they're for transgenderism, they're anti-white, they're for open borders. You can almost go down the line. They're pro all the vaccine
They're
stuff.
pro-Palestine usually,
Yeah.
or pro-global
That is one
warming.
area that could be a little bit of a difference too, because of that group.
They're pro-climate change.
Yes, exactly. And whereas on the right, there is a lot of big disagreements, and it depends how you define.
Well, I
right
know
and
I have
left.
big disagreements with
Right.
a lot of people, like even
Well,
on our sphere.
Like you're really pro drug legalization part
well,
of it.
marijuana.
Marijuana.
I don't think heroin should be legal.
Right.
I don't necessarily think you should go to prison for doing it, but I don't think you should be allowed to be out in the streets shooting up.
And so that's a difference, and the right would have on, let's say, that's just one example, but even
abortion on some stuff.
Well, the left is anti-religion for the most part,
Yeah.
and so the right has a lot more variety. There's some pagans,
Well,
there's
the
some
porn
Christian
stuff. Some people, because I know people that are pro pornography, and they think of it as freedom, and then other people think it's really bad. So yeah, no, because even in people we know, we have friends, and they're on the right more than the left. Even they disagree.
Some of our good supporters, I won't say their names, but they know that that guy. He's definitely right wing culturally, but they're sympathetic on some economic platforms that could be traditionally left wing. Like, should we have national health insurance? That's traditionally
I'm kind of on that too.
Right, but see, on the left, they don't. So on the right, you'd have people that are for a market-based solution, and then others may actually be on the right want a what we would call socialized solution. Whereas on the left, I don't think there's anyone that would have a market-based solution. So they're very rigid on the left. They don't have much diversity of opinions. And part of it is they're very cult-like, because if you just veer a little bit, they just turn on their own.
They do.
And that's how they get so extreme. And that's why Stephen Smith, he's this only reason he's that little black guy that talks fast.
Megyn Kelly's had him on his show before.
He's kind of dumb, but he talks fast. And he reminds me of a guy that'd be like a con artist in Chicago with fake Rolexes if he wasn't doing this.
Like in his
exactly.
His
yeah, that's what he is. But even he is starting to push back because he wants to get the Democrat nomination. He's been pushing back.
He does?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
No, he's talking about he thinks he wants to run for president.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
That'll be kind of like what Larry Elder ran for something in California, but he was running as a Republican, and he didn't give very many votes.
I tell you though, what he's doing though, he's doing that triangulation. He's saying, the Democrats were stupid and running around saying that men could get pregnant. He goes, I don't know what you guys are doing. That doesn't make any sense. You all trying to do that. Why are you trying to do that?
Well, he might be better than the other people like AOC. I cannot stand her, and everybody's like, she might be the next nominee. That's like, okay, if you guys want to lose, trot that bitch out. Because,
And then he came out, and again, I can't stand Stephen Smith, but he was like, what are you all doing, waving the Mexican flag and burning cars? He said, the Republicans are just going to run with that. Why are you doing that? That's stupid. You guys just
So maybe he's smarter than their base, if that's the guy. I mean, that's common sense.
Well, Zeman and I talked about last night with Gavin Newsom how stupid he was. He could have used this huge. If Gavin wasn't so idiotic, he could have, even if he didn't believe that, said, hey, I really support the undocumented. Oh, big thing there.
Sorry.
I really support the undocumented workers, and I'm going to protect them, but we're going to have zero toleration of violence, and I'm going to send my state troops in to put this down. Right? That would have been a popular position.
That's what he should have done.
Yeah.
I mean, are they in such a bubble, like people like him, that he really thinks that most people want their cities burned down and their cars broken into? And then I saw some of the news, the main news, like CNN, they were saying stuff like, oh, well, they're just having fun burning cars down. And it's like, if it was your car being burned up, you would not be calling it fun.
Right. Well, there has been some stuff of, I've seen over the past year of leftists. They're all for no police. Remember that after George Floyd? Yeah. And then all of a sudden they show up, they go to San Francisco and their car's bashed in their windshield.
Yeah.
And the police don't do anything.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason they do that, is to try to, unless it affects them, they don't really care.
No, they don't. I mean, if it was his house or his car being burned down, then he would probably give a shit.
We got another super chat by Windukin.
Thank you. Is Newsom doing a coup or insurrection with his orc army? I think he's just stupid.
No, I think he's a very weak man. I just think he wants to run in 2028, but he's doing everything really bad, because what he should be doing, because he's already got the shit lib vote, right?
Right.
He should at least be pretending to be somewhat reasonable.
Yeah, or moderate, or
Yeah.
just try to reach across for maybe people in the middle.
Yeah, I get it. He's trying to look like a badass standing up to the evil fascist Trump. I get that. That's his thinking.
But do they not understand Trump won the popular vote? If you want to run
Yeah.
for president, you need to come across as kind of normal. And honestly, if Trump wasn't the way he was, he could probably got more votes because some of the stuff he does is pretty cringe.
Yeah, he has his own issues.
So it's
yeah.
like if you just try to act, even like a Bill Clinton before all the sex shit came out, if you just came out and you were kind of reasonable on things.
Yeah. Here's a super chat. So thank you on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with that. So, and let's see here. This was did you see this? There was like a school shooting. It was in Minnesota. Here, I'll take a look at this. That's a graduation. They're having a graduation interrupted in gunfire.
Was it?
Well, let's see here. Here they are. Here's the pictures
oh,
of the suspects.
I saw you tweeted that, but I didn't know that's what.
And these are not really American names. These are probably Somalis.
And that was at a high school?
Breaking news, I can't pronounce his names. These people that shouldn't be in this country have been charged with possession of a machine gun in connection with the Wise Ata High School. They had a ceremony. So they're graduating. These scholars graduated.
They look way too old to be in high school.
They look like a genetic problem. So like this guy, he really looks mental. I mean, he doesn't. I think our dog. What's with his nose? I love that pose they use. It's like I
didn't do nothing.
It didn't do nothing. Shit. Yeah. I mean, do we really need these in the country?
No.
I mean, just look at. I think we could say no. This isn't going to really benefit.
He has palm tree hair.
Yeah, he'd be happier back in his homeland. And so you just look at these people and you're like, now
why did they think it was a good idea to bring these people here? Is what I don't understand.
Because they hate us, the people that brought them here.
That's stupid, but it's got to backfire on them too.
Well, a lot of them are kind of seeing that, and they're trying to pull some of this back a little bit. A lot of the elites, because it is funny. I thought this was funny because all the usual Republicans saying this is outrageous. How can anyone fly? If you're in America, you should only fly the American flag, right? This Congressman, Representative Jim Jordan, we fly the American flag in America. And then it was this was whatever they call it, the community notes. Representative Jordan has an Israeli flag outside of his office door. So he's in the Capitol.
How is that any different?
And he has the American flag and an Israeli flag.
How is that any different than these people with the Mexican flag? In fact, if anything, that's worse.
It is worse.
I bet the Mexicans, they're from Mexico. Mm-hmm. That'd be like you have your Scottish flag because your ancestors from it. This douchebag's probably, he has nothing to do with, is he Jewish?
No. So
why is he flying that? Because they're paying him.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so pathetic. It's just like, that's embarrassing. I agree with you. This guy is, I have more respect for the Mexicans flying their flag because they're Mexican. At least that's their ethnic homeland. Right. And if it's Ben Shapiro flying his Israeli flag because that's his homeland.
Right, because he's Jewish.
But these cocks, and I'm using that term literal, they're cocks. They're selling out their own people, another nation, because they're scared of them or they get money.
It's because of money.
It's pathetic. It is. And then, here's what we were talking about, this guy in Arkansas who is just totally lock, stock, and barreled, owned by the lobby.
I can proudly say I've never voted for this guy.
Tom Cotton. And he's trying to advocate a war with Iran. So he's, for the sake of our national security and the security of our allies, he means Israel. Yeah. So yeah, that's Tom Cotton. What an idiot we have here. I wonder if he probably has a many Israeli flags up here. Oh, another thing that made me mad. I guess this made me mad personally because I'm about to the age where I get Social Security. In fact, I get it in a couple months. And most of my income, because you guys, everyone donates now, they're tips. I looked at the IRS rules, there are tips because I don't set a set price. People do it voluntarily, and they can give $5 or $50 or $100. That's tips.
Right.
So it says tips based on the big beautiful bill.
Some of these things.
Yeah, I wouldn't have to pay tax on that. I'm like, that is so cool. There's a lot of problems with the bill, right? And then look who this Senator Graham decides he wants to get rid of the no tax on tips or overtime.
Wait, isn't this the same asshole that ran up a $400,000 bill
in Ukraine?
He should have to pay that back.
And this is the one.
Like, and he wants to tell us that we can't have tips.
Do you think this guy would ever cut
tips?
saying, "Oh, we can't afford more aid for Israel"? Do you think Senator Graham would ever say that? Hell no.
Why does he keep getting voted in either? Stop voting.
He's like a Tom Cotton, I know, except he's probably worse because he's.
I think he is worse.
He has probably some strange
because Tom
behavior.
Cotton has not come out against like getting no tax on tips, as far as I know.
They're
going to do anything like that to hurt the people. That would help boost the economy, I would think.
Well, to help Americans.
Yes.
And it's amazing that you have these so-called Republican senators, and the idea of helping real Americans is just like, oh, we can't do that. No, we just don't have the money for that. They're like, okay, well, then maybe we should cut the defense or not spend all this money or Ukraine or Israel. Oh, how dare you do that? We stand with Israel. You know, it's just like, so they stand with a foreign power, but not their own people. So screw Senator Graham.
So do you think that'll get in? Because I thought it would probably be too good to be true, and now it sounds like
no. I think these assholes will pull it out.
That's what I think.
But just remember, Senator Graham's doing this. He's going to give endless money to Ukraine, endless money to Israel. He won't help you guys.
And how do you run a $400,000 bill up in a country that's war torn right now?
It's cheap living there too. I know.
Is he like? That's some expensive.
I would like to see exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
There. And it was, this
guy.
I mean,
honestly, he should be tried. Like, where's this money? That's the taxpayer money.
Yes.
All the tax on tips. My God, how many tips would that be?
Yeah.
Or how much tax would that be? 400. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that is a thing. So, let's see.
How does he even have so much money to even be able to spend that like that?
Yeah,
he's a civil servant.
Isn't it amazing how they make all this money?
I know. That's what I'm saying. This is
they all
Mr.
end
Smith
up
goes to Washington. That's
they
for sure.
all end up wealthy. And then there's something that I wanted to, I predicted, because I have experienced in my family, this stuff like this happening. But remember Mr. Beast, he's like the #1 guy on YouTube, I don't know, billion subs. But he built all these wells for the Africans because they don't know how to do things.
I heard something about this, but I wasn't sure what it was. They already tore them down.
Oh, so I just think whatever. So they built the wells, and we don't have our headphones in, but yeah, they're not maintaining them.
Maybe just stop going over there and helping these people if that's the way they appreciate your help.
Well, this has happened so many times. Engineers Without Borders would go to Africa and build because these poor Africans, they have dirty water, they're pissing in their own water and drinking it. And they're like, we'll show them how to build a way to get clean water. In fact, we'll build a forum and we'll teach them how to maintain it. The minute the Americans or Europeans leave, they immediately loot all the copper, they tear it apart, and it just...
Maybe don't go over there anymore. I'm sure there's a lot of places in America that need help with their water. It wasn't Flint, Michigan, like having problems a few years ago. Maybe help America stop going over there to help them.
I like the Star Trek Prime Directive.
Me too.
Leave primitive societies alone.
Same.
And they can
They need to learn for themselves.
Yeah, and if they can't, that's nature's way of dealing with the problem. And then... this is a little bit different. This is Pride Month, but in general, it's been a lot more low key. I noticed that last year, and a lot of corporations are not pushing this stuff. And even this RuneScape, I don't play this, but this is an online role playing game, and they decided not to do like Pride events in the game this year. So do you think there's just a little fatigue of all that?
I don't know. I want to say yes, because I heard the Target's not doing it this year too. But at the same time, like when we took the dog to the vet, they had the flags.
Yeah,
and everywhere I go, I saw a flag yesterday somewhere.
Fayetteville. Yeah. I know. I'm not saying it's going away.
They treat it like a holiday now. I've noticed this, and I think it's just like brain dead people that don't really think about. I've never understood Pride. I've always been friends with gay people, and I never got it because it's like, why are you proud of like who you sleep? It's just bizarre. Or proud of sex acts, because that's what it is when you say Pride. So they have to get out their little rainbows and say, and then rainbows used to at least be cool. They were just rainbows. Now they have that shit stain in the middle.
Yeah.
Me and Moscow were talking about like somebody wiped their butt with it, and that's their flag, and it's everywhere now.
Yeah, we got some rant here, so we'll get those out. And Rouse, thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Is this the way to answer sob stories about illegals and cheap labor? And let me see this. All right, so we'll show it to you guys. The majority of Americans want every illegal migrant deported. Yes.
Yes.
Mass documentations are a lifeline for the working class because illegal labor undercuts their wages. It's the Democrats who are up in arms that their open border jobs program is coming to an end. You know, I don't really care so much about the economic argument. The economy is important. I just don't want them here.
Yeah.
I want my own homeland, my own culture. And so I don't even argue it from that point of view. But thank you for that on that. So that was, we got $2 from our house.
And people like this are people like this worth, no, I didn't.
Oh, are people like this worth listening to? So sorry about that if I did a little quick. And this is from, how do you reach these kind of people? Let me see what they say here. How about we're the only race to have a war with thousands to abolish slavery? In the slavery, yeah, I don't really care about that, what those people think, really.
You're not going to reach those people anyway. A lot of those people have to be reached on their own.
A lot of them
if you're talking about these lefty type people.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because somebody that we know, we were kind of playing a game and people were making fun of Democrats. And then later they were like, oh, what's up with the Democrats? Because it's one of my family members. And it's like, you guys don't like Democrats? It's like, no. Yeah. And then I'd mention the anti-white stuff, but they agreed with me. But it's like, well, how do you keep voting for these fucking people? And it's not the Democrat Party of back in the day. Like when my grandfather was a Democrat, like this is a new animal of just crazies.
It is.
Like, why do you vote for them?
Yeah. Okay. We got another super chat here. So let me get that.
So we made 50, I think.
I think so. So we'll do a night owls. That'd be good. Did you know the Supreme Court is supposed to rule on birthright citizenship today? No, I hope they rule on it right.
Me too.
The media is dead silent about it. Riots are getting the attention. You know, I haven't even looked at the news real closely this morning, but I haven't seen much about riots really, and I think it's already fizzled. Yeah, I know that, and that No King's Day, I think it's going to be like.
So when is that supposed to be? Monday?
Saturday.
Oh, Saturday. Yeah, right. Like anybody on Saturday is going to go protest or whatever.
Like I said, some obese people of non-binary with weird hair that have various things in their face may stand around with a sign, but that'd be about it. So I don't think that maybe I'm wrong here. Let's see here.
You didn't read that one, did you? The Robert one?
Yeah.
Do Americans tend to accept riots more from blacks because it's expected than from Mexicans? How do you compare public reaction to these riots versus BLM in 2020 black riots in 1992 Los Angeles?
Well, there's a couple things. I'll have Sacha get your take on this. I do think, and I hated both. And I think even the majority of people in 2020 did not support violent riots. But I will say this, and I wasn't in this. I think there were some kind of dumb white people that thought, oh, well, you can understand these poor black people are trying to live their lives like sweet George Floyd. And then for no reason, he's just standing there. An evil white racist KKK officer chokes him to death. So I can understand their anger. That was all bullshit narrative, but that some of them thought that, where it's hard to justify, wait, Trump's not deporting Mexicans that are here illegally. He's not even deporting most illegal Mexicans. They're really going after the ones that are violent criminals.
Right.
And then based on that, you're waving the Mexican flag and firebombing. That's a hard one to get normie to get behind.
Well, and the media lies about riots too, because in 92, they made it like he was innocent and all that. Rodney King.
Oh, yeah.
That they beat him up. And then Jim Goat always said that on the tape there was somebody else with him and that he complied with the police and they did not beat the shit out of him. But they said he charged. So they kind of edited the video. So I think that's what made people mad because most people aren't big fans of the cops anyway. I know I don't really care for the police. So you see that and you think, wow, they're just beating this guy up. So that's a little different with the LA riots. And then later people found out like, well, this was kind of bullshit or that the news station lied about it. And I think the same with the George Floyd too. They kind of, they choked him to death and he couldn't breathe. I think the media plays a big part in that too, because they'll paint a narrative.
Right.
And with this, it's kind of hard to paint a narrative like these people came over here, we're nice enough to let them come over here. And then they're burning our flags and burning our cities down while waving their flags. Why don't they go home? People see that and they get pissed off.
But that'd be like, as I said on Z-Man, but it'd be like if I illegally broke into Hungary, in the country I lived there, and then they were trying to deport people, Americans, and I responded by overturning Hungarian police cars, setting them on fire, and waving the American flag.
Yeah.
I don't think that'd be very sympathetic.
No.
And so it's not different. And again, as Z-Man said, and I agree with him, I don't even think it's most Mexicans give a damn about this sort of thing. And I know the ones you knew, you think they were really going to run out on No King's Day with their Mexican flag and throw firebombs?
Hell no. They're too busy with jobs.
Yeah.
These people that have time to go do all this shit, they don't work.
No, they don't.
That's what I said. They're getting paid.
Yeah, a lot of them are. Yeah.
And I don't even think like a lot of these are illegal, because if you were illegal, wouldn't you be kind of hiding? You wouldn't want to be out getting captured to get deported.
Yeah.
You're not going to be out there rioting. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I think a lot of it's just paid actors and then brainwash college kids or younger people or maybe old boomers that, we got to bring the 60s back.
Yeah.
That are looking for a cause because everything's bad and evil.
Right.
In their mind. That's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah. So, in their mind, like this No King's Day, this is our way to stand up against a fascist dictator. And we need to do it because if someone would have just stand up to Hitler, they would, and they'll do that. And so it gives meaning to their pathetic lives.
Yeah.
Their lives are pathetic and worthless. So they try to get some meaning out of it by doing these stupid protests.
Well, they do. It's kind of like the COVID stuff. The people going around, running around. It made people feel good. Because doing something that, you think is needed makes you feel good, but people don't need to do this.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. I posted this. I got some comments. I thought maybe we'll just end with this a little bit because this show's not as hardcore. This is women who don't date men, who won't date men based on height deserve to be single. This is, I guess, a big issue on dating apps because people can put filters. And a lot of women, they just filter out men that are below, let's say, 5'8" or something like that. What are your thoughts about that? But, people have their preferences.
I don't know.
What happens is it gets a lot of these women mad is men are saying, well, shouldn't they be a filter? You could filter out on weight of women.
Well, I mean, a lot of these women are the same people. They always want like some perfect guy.
Yeah.
But then they're fat themselves. I know somebody like that bitch that wrote me that letter. I can't be your friend. She's kind of like that. It's like you weigh 300 pounds and then you're going to be picky on who, and it's like you should be lucky any guy would have anything to do with you. Yeah, it is stupid. I've never really dated on height. I've dated short guys and
well, this is my question. I said, what is the shortest man you would date? What is your ideal height for a man?
I like tall guys like you, but I mean, I'm kind of tall too.
So what's the shortest you would date?
I dated in high school. I dated a guy that was probably like, maybe I'm 5'8". He was maybe 5'7", but he was good looking.
Yeah.
I mean, I think looks compensate. A lot of actors you see on shows that are really attractive, they're usually kind of short.
Would you date Peter Dinklage? He's pretty good looking.
No, gross. Well, I met Willie Ames at a convention and he still looked good and he was short. And it's like, yeah, I mean, if I was single, and he was saying like, yeah, it's people like that. Yes. I think looks mean more than height.
Yeah. And so what's your ideal height, or do you have?
I don't know, like over 6 foot, but that's just because I'm tall too.
Yeah. Philosophy Cat, she replied, I'm pretty tall at 5'9". So my ideal would be 6'2", but it isn't something I've ever based a relationship on. Height is a bonus. It's there, but it's not a deal breaker if it's missing. The shortest man I was in a relationship was barely 5'6", and so that kind of sounds like your story a little bit.
Yeah,
it must be a little harder if you're a tall woman too, right?
Maybe. I mean,
because then your selection is less. Yeah.
I mean, I never really cared about stuff like that too much. I just always happened to fall into, dating guys that were taller. But I have dated guys that were shorter.
Yeah. So that's just sort of.
I don't really care. Personality and I don't want to date somebody that's obese. I think that's a big one right there. Don't want to date a fatty.
All right. We had a good response for the show. I didn't know because we kind of, we've been off doing other things too. So
We've got a dog that's really.
Yeah, we got to keep going on this. So I think there's
Yeah,
a lot
we
of good
should.
interest. So we'll do this every Thursday. So thank you guys for your big support. And it looks like we got enough. We'll do a night owls. Night owls. We might do a fun night owls this week. We'll do some questions, like kind of Z-Man had.
Oh yeah, you should figure that
and that'd
out.
be fun. We'll just do this.
Oh, when you're talking about guys being short, my dad was short and women loved him.
Mm-hmm.
Like my mom was real short too. She was shorter than him, but my dad, you saw him.
Mm-hmm.
He's like shorter than me, and he never had problems getting women.
Yeah.
So if you have like a good personality and you're attractive, I think you can be short and still get women. Because remember that guy that shot that CEO,
mm-hmm.
that Luigi guy? He was pretty cute, and all these women thought he was hot. And I guess he's kind of short.
Yeah, but women liked him because he killed someone.
No, they liked him because he was attractive. Maybe some women liked him because he killed someone.
Hey, Dave. Hey,
thank you. Saw
censored, whatever it was.
in Fort Smith the other day holding a sign, "No one is illegal on stolen land, LMAO." Same shit, different day. Yeah. Well, in Fort Smith even.
Yeah. The land is so funny because there was someone I responded to. They said, "Did you know that the southwest part of the United States used to be owned by Mexico?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I did know that. Did you know that Mexico used to be owned by Spain?
Yeah.
And did you know the United States or America used to be owned by England?" It's a stupid thing to say.
It is.
So it's like, who cares?
Oh, you got another super chat too.
Oh, okay,
from
cool.
K-Max.
Thank you, K-Max.
K-Max, thank you. Was Z-Man implying he minds some migrant groups less than others, Mexicans versus Somalis? We do have some distinctions here. Still, migration is too high from everywhere.
I don't think he implied it. I think he said that explicitly, and I say that explicitly too.
Well, I don't want any of these people. I think we're full.
No, I agree. But would you agree? Which would you rather have poor in your neighborhood? And rank them, okay?
Okay.
1,000 Germans, 1,000 Mexicans, 1,000 Haitians. How would you rank them?
Germans and Mexicans and Haitians.
There you go. Right. Yeah, I think almost everyone.
Part of the deal with Mexicans, they can be cool, like nice. Like I've worked with them and stuff. And I went to school with them too. They made our school bilingual when I lived in Rockford in 6th grade, and I always got along with them. But the problem is they don't speak English.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And that's a problem. And if you could, I want to be able to speak to people when you go out. And I don't know. It's just like I think more and more people are isolated because when you go out, it's like being in a foreign country when you go shopping.
Yeah,
there's all these different kinds of people.
We don't want that. We want a homeland. And I think the ADL and SPLC, they've done such good propaganda that if you want your own homeland, it must mean you hate other people.
Well, they do that propaganda
because it's bullshit. I love Japanese or Chinese. They're fine, but I wouldn't want my country to become China.
Well, I'm going to Japan in December, and I want to see Japanese people. I don't want to see Somalis, and that's kind of when I went to Holland. I went to Amsterdam in 2008. There was a lot of people from like the Middle East and shit there. Like I saw a lot of Dutch people, but I saw a lot of people that I'm like, why are you in Holland? And I don't want it to be that way when I go to Japan. I want to see Japanese people. I
think people are getting tired of this double standard. SPLC and ADL is saying, if you want people just we don't have to justify it. That's what's weird. We feel like we have to justify we want our homeland to these people.
Yeah.
And then they say, oh, if you don't want everyone, a million endless Indians or Haitians, it's because you're full of hate and evil. We can't tolerate hate. But our people, we get our own homeland because of the Holocaust, and you better never dispute that, otherwise we'll throw you in jail. Yeah. I think people are getting tired of that.
Well, they are. Well, and then they come here and like those Somalis eating people, the geese out of the pond. People don't want that here. No,
it's just not a culture.
We had enough problems like with Protestant versus Catholics.
Yes.
So why make it even worse with all this racial shit and different languages and all these different customs? I mean, homogeny is a good thing.
Here's Stephen Campbell had one.
Oh, thank you. I don't know. I'm not going to judge the ladies for preferring over 6 foot tall dudes. I might be a bit biased at over 6 foot myself. Haha. But really, money and personality go further than looks much of the time. Yeah, that's true.
Well, status is probably the number one thing.
Look at Elon Musk. He's an ugly motherfucker, and he gets all these. Of course, the women he dates are pretty gross, too.
His status.
Like me and Brandon were talking about that.
Yeah. And that's
Sorry, this is on silent. I don't know why it keeps dinging.
I don't know.
Look, silent.
Yeah, maybe it's some other thing.
It's Mosca.
Oh, okay. Tell him you should be watching the show. I'm not doing this, so.
He always texts me at the worst time. I'll be at work and cleaning toilets, knee deep in a toilet, and ding ding.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to check and see if it's my boss, and it's usually him with a meme or something. And it's like, can you send the memes after 10 o'clock, please, when I'm more free?
Yeah. So it was a good show. I am pissed off about Lindsey Graham trying to take our no tax on tips. That would have really helped us.
Anything that's going to help the people, they're going to take.
No, we can't have that. It could help Americans. Nope. Remember?
I got to line my pockets and buy male prostitutes. And, you know, I mean, where did that money go? How do you spend? I can't even imagine. How much would it cost if we got like the nicest suite and at Caesar's Palace? What would that cost?
We'd have to be there months to get a 400,000.
What was he doing? Was he doing like his own freak offs there or something? I mean,
well, I'm trying to think about this because I think at Caesar's Palace, we can never afford it. But like the top suite is like 20,000 a night.
Okay, so you could have stayed there for. I'm not good at math. 24, 6, 800. So 5 days, $100,000.
5 times 4, 20 days.
Yeah.
Almost a whole month in the most exclusive suite.
It's probably nicer than anything Ukraine has, I'm guessing.
Oh, it'd be bigger than our house here. That suite is huge. You know what I mean? They have a pool,
Caesar's
indoor
is
pool.
really nice.
Yeah, those suites have their own little pools and everything.
I told people we stayed at Caesar's last time because somebody had Caesar. You know, like people really. It's like, yeah, it's awesome.
It is nicer. I really love Caesar's, and the best part I liked about it, I probably told you guys, we went to the Venus pool. That was adults only, and they actually would allow topless, but sadly, well, maybe it's good because some of the women there, but there was no topless women. But what was nice, and I really do love it, there was no kids.
No,
so you could be in the pool without someone peeing in the pool or some bratty, you know.
Well, when we went to the Mirage a few years ago, I went to the pool without you because I don't remember why you didn't go, but I went, and it was like all Mexican children.
Oh, a bunch of Mexican.
It made me think of that South Park, that minorities in my water park.
Yeah.
And Cartman's in the pool, and all these kids jump in the pool, just turns yellow.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of, and this was great. It was like most people weren't even swimming.
No.
Everyone was just hanging around the sidelines drinking beer.
Yeah, it was great.
It was just like, all right, but I guess you can use that pool. Even if you're not staying at Caesar's, you can pay to go to that pool.
Yeah, we got for free.
Because we're staying there though. But a lady I worked with said they did. She said that she saw some topless lady. She said the woman was like 60 years old, topless and obese. And she said, wow, that takes a lot of guts to get out there and do that. I wish I got that kind of guts. And I'm like, yeah, I would not be the only person out there with my shirt off at that. No way.
Yeah, it was. But it was a beautiful show.
It was good.
I think we got everything. I always make sure we didn't miss anything. But Sunday night we'll have a fun show and do questions and answers and maybe play a game or something like that. So it was fun though, guys. Thank you. It's a successful reboot of this. So we've been away. So
yeah, there's always something going on. It seems like.
Well, one day it started because I had a discussion with I can't talk about now was
that's why I couldn't remember. And then didn't I have an appointment, or we had to take the dog to the vet or something one day?
It's just been that's right. Then we had the vet, so we'll try to keep this back more on schedule. But it's because they're a lot of fun. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it, and we'll see you
Sunday.
Well, and me tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Yep. So my weekly wrap up. Talk to you guys later. Bye.